So this would be a good time for me to talk for a few minutes about some of the different things I got at the teacher supply store, if you saw my previous video. And, you know, as I've already said in other videos, I am not saying that I'm an authority on any of this. I'm simply sharing what I am finding as I'm starting this process of planning and preparing for homeschooling for this coming school year. So these are some options. There's 1,000 other options out there as well, but these are just some ideas for people who might feel like they don't even know where to start. So let me show some stuff here. So for each of my kids, 1st, 3rd, 5th grade, I got, you know, a little container like this, cubby, whatever you want to call it, to help us be organized. I don't plan on us spending hours and hours and hours every day working out of workbooks, but of course there is a need for that, a part in each day for something like that. This is one thing I got for each of them. It's called a daily language review, and it's just, you know, I'm starting to think about our days and how we'll do things. This might be a way that we choose a direction we choose to go in, to just spend the first 5 minutes or so, 5-10 minutes of the morning, get going with review, you know, of things for 1st grade, for example. Fix the sentences, write the capital letter that goes with each lowercase letter, finish the sentence. You know, you do it for a few minutes and then you're done. You move on to something else. From my previous video, I was talking about how looking for science materials was kind of my main focus of that field trip. And so let me show a few of the science resources I found. And again, for something, of course, as hands-on as science, we don't want to be obviously just working out of books, but there's lots of good resources out there developing critical thinking through science. This is for grades 1 to 3. Does that mean that I cannot be using this for my 5th grader? Of course not. You know, it's good to review things. It's good to go over things that you might feel you already know and feel successful about. I might use this book in a way with him where give it to him and let him actually read and find an experiment, a project he's interested in really figuring out, learning and teaching to his 1st and 3rd grade sisters, because teaching is a great way, of course, to learn something, really cement something yourself. Giant science resource book. I see, I'm just looking here, there's some different, you know, things on respiratory system, nervous system, different human body things, amongst other. There's life science, earth science, physical science. But I see this coming school year as an opportunity for us as a family to maybe really learn and investigate more in areas that the kids, my kids in particular, have interests. And so my middle child, my daughter, who will be in 3rd grade, she loves learning about the human body. She always has, ever since she's been little, 3-4 years old. She loves learning about the human body. So maybe this year we might spend more time on some of these topics than she would be able to in a typical school year. And so that's kind of an exciting thing, actually, I think, about being able to homeschool and go in our own direction this year. You know, going along those lines, you've probably seen nowadays at places like Target, Hobby Lobby, Walmart, you can buy these different science kits, and not everything that we do this coming school year, I certainly don't feel has to be exactly correlated to the Colorado state standards. If we see activities that look interesting and fun for our family, we can do them. It's okay if it's not exactly in line with a first grade or a third grade or a fifth grade science standard. Obviously, that's okay. But let me speak for a moment about standards, because I do think that's an important guide, especially for people who are brand new to teaching education. You might not even be aware of the fact that every state does have state standards. And so that is really, I think, a helpful, this light, maybe I'll turn that down a little bit. Just your Colorado state standards, or whatever state you're in, they are your guide, like your roadmap, so that you know when you're starting the school year, what is it? What are your responsibilities to be teaching these kids, so that by the time they finish that school year, they have learned what they need to be learning for first grader or third grader. So as you start looking at the different materials out there on the market, you'll see a lot of them nowadays. These different textbook companies, they're obviously aware of state standards. They will put mention of that on their books. This says aligned to next generation science and current science standards. Okay, so I do look for that in these different books. This one says correlated to national science standards. That just kind of makes me feel like the publishers of this book, they are aware, correlated to current standards. They are aware of what the standards are, and they're trying to provide material and activities, projects that cover those standards, right? Here's another one I got. Critical thinking, connecting home and school. So something like this, would we spend a ton of time in it each day? No, but it's probably going to be something that we can flip through. And did I just turn that off? Oh no, it's still going. Flip through, and certainly it will have some valuable skills for each of my different kids throughout the year. So maybe some sort of critical thinking book you might be interested in. Again, follow things, look for things that you as a family are interested in. I think it is important for a person to have some sort of geography literacy, even when you're little. So something like map skills for today, right? I found a book like this for each of my kids. It might be above and beyond what Colorado expects for first graders to know in terms of geography, but my family, we like to travel, we like adventures, we like going places, learning about new places. So for us, this will be that's good. That's applicable for our family. So anyway, you can see here one of these bins for each of the kids with similar type things for their grade level. As much as possible, I'm going to start looking for ways to make things just a little bit more fun, because this is a really strange time, right? Strange school year, strange world. Everything is just not normal right now. So if there's ways that we can make moments a little bit more interesting or fun, let's do it. So these are whiteboard eraser puffs. You put it on your finger and you clean off your little mini whiteboard that way, instead of using a Kleenex that gets nasty and black in 5 seconds. Things like this. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. These each were $1.29. I got a couple for the girls, one for my son. If you're unfamiliar with this, you use it as you're reading through lines, and it just kind of highlights the line they're on. It might help them focus on their reading passage. Doesn't cost a lot, but and it's a novelty in the beginning. It might be forgotten after a few days. That's okay. It didn't cost a lot. I'm just looking for ways to make our days more interesting. Excuse that phone. Sidewalk chalk. This is a fun way. If, for example, here's a little book about time, money, and fractions. Okay. You can go through here and see all these are very practical, useful skills. Obviously, counting money, telling time practice, equal parts. But maybe you can make things more interesting by going outside and writing things on the sidewalk, or making hopscotch to help learn your spelling or your vocabulary or your addition facts. So I'm just kind of now I taught for many years. I've been away from that world of lesson planning for many years now. So I'm kind of rediscovering things, thinking about things again, which personally for me, it's fun to do that. So I'm just kind of reawakening a part of my brain and remembering, oh yeah, this is something I used to do. This is a fun activity for kids. It's the middle of July, but I'm, at Target just starting to look for sales. The other day at Target, they had some supplies that were really pretty cheap. So just starting to stock up on things like construction paper, notebooks, folders. Doesn't cost a lot of money. And then also, when you think of it, to homeschool, just think of in any of our homes, all of the things we already must have that that we can use every day in that as manipulatives, as materials for teaching and learning. So you might not even need to buy a lot of stuff. Sure, some of these workbooks are helpful, but there's lots of things in our homes, of course, that we can use that we already have on hand. One last idea. I did talk with our school back in the at the end of the school year, and I said this is possibly what we'll be doing, in the fall. Homeschooling, would it be an option for us to just borrow from the school the textbooks for the coming year? And they were great and wonderful and in saying yes. So for language arts, we're going to be using, our school has this McGraw-Hill Wonders language arts curriculum, which I have no problem with, and I love our school. We fully intend, in the future to return to our school, so it makes a lot of sense for my kids to stay familiar with this reading program that's used. That was third grade. It goes throughout the grades at our school. I was able to get up through fifth grade. You can see their reading, writing workshop, literature anthology. If that's an option, maybe you can borrow something from your school. And so that does not cost us additional money, if we can just use the textbooks that their classmates will be using and that they're already familiar with. So anyway, just some ideas. Not to say any of this stuff needs to be used, but it's what I have found in the last few days, and at least it gives us some ideas and directions to start planning for. And really, there's just so many things out there. You could never use everything that's on the market, but look for those things that say they're aligned to state standards. Start looking around your home. What kinds of things do you have in the kitchen, amongst the kids' toys that can be used for counting, for manipulatives, whatever. And you might be surprised how much stuff you already have on hand that will be really valuable for homeschooling.